And so now we're going to take a look at what the lights look like. Live. No preview. No studio mode. Boom. That just looks the same. That doesn't look any different. I mean, there's a light right there. Boy, oh boy, is it right there. Boy, oh boy, is it in my face. I mean, I can still play games like this, but who would want to? Is the real question. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Lighten these shots like this. You know what I mean? It's video games. It's gonna be dingy. Still need to paint the wall. The wall is we are not painting the wall until we paint the house, and so that is probably going to be, you know, next year sometime at this rate. So yeah, that's like that on purpose. We are not painting the wall until we are painting the entire house. So get used to it, mother. I look like an influencer with this lighting. All right, the mission accomplished. Great. What colors are we going for? You know, we're thinking like a deserty kind of southwestern vibe. You know, some oranges and brown. I don't know. I'm colorblind. My wife picked out some colors that she liked, and and they sounded good to me too. I'm like, yeah, sure. I don't know. Let's do that someday. And then that's about as far as that's gotten. But yeah, the house is mostly blue. The house is mostly blue, all throughout the house, and it's kind of just a weird blue and gray, which I guess is very on trend right now. But it is, it's a bit much, especially in the kitchen where there's a much darker blue. What kind of colorblind am I? Hi everyone. Also hi. Hello, everyone. What kind of colorblind am I? Technically, whenever I take the tests or something, it says it's protanopia, but I don't quite fit that profile 100%. I think I might be a little bit more colorblind than that. So basically, green and brown look the same. Here, you know what? Why don't we show the big problem with Arcade Paradise here real quick, and I will talk to you about it. Okay, we push this button a few times, and then we push this button, and then hopefully the game just shows up. It did. Great. This is awesome. It's great when this shit works. They call it red green, I guess. So I think if I had to sum it up, the color red doesn't really stand out to me very well, and so reds look very subdued, and as a result, purples look blue, and so on and so forth. And you know, green and brown look very similar to me in a lot of cases. Here, let's play some graffiti balls real quick here. Okay, so we shoot these balls. When two like-colored balls touch, they merge and form a new color. And so I guess these are red. These are red. We'll call these red. What color is this? I'm going to say yellow. And then when these two merge, that looks like a slightly brighter yellow to me. Could be green. Word from the chat is that it's a green. Okay, so let's make these reds touch and then try and get these, that's what I'm told, are green. Okay, wait, no, so now these two are green, right? Is that what people were saying? Okay, let's get these ones to touch. Damn it. All right, this is not an optimal way to play graffiti balls, but we're trying to. All right, see, now those two next to each other, I can tell they look slightly different. And so the gaming problem becomes at a certain distance, it is impossible for me to compare the colors to one another. Those two on the left are close enough together that I can tell that they are different, but I could not tell you which one is which, or, you know, if you said, hey, look at the yellow one, I'm like, I don't know. And so I think I'm trying to get the one in the lower left to touch the one in the upper right, right? Is that... Let's try and get those two to touch. Okay. And now what's that? That one's green? So what was the other one then? Yellow... The other one was literally fucking... Okay, so it was orange and then yellow and then green, people are saying. Some people are saying that it was a lime green and now it's a different green. Oh, is it just... So colors the rainbow? Is it? Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense as to why I run into this exact same problem again later with the BIV end of the spectrum. Because then it goes to three things that look like they might as well be blue. And so I unlocked this game last night and played it for the first time, and you know, I feel like I had an okay game at it. We'll look at my high scores compared to on the high score list here. But like, why didn't those two connect? Those two look the same to me. And so at some point I had to start also keeping track of like, okay, that's the third greenish, yellowish. And had to start trying to like keep track of them in my head as they bounced around the world. So those two will connect. Oh wait, no, I didn't even make them touch. Those connected, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so yes, you're okay. So if it's going red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, blue, indigo, and violet all looked exactly the same to me as well. Like, it was just like one is slightly darker, one is slightly lighter. But if you asked me what are they, I would call them all blue. Unless they're next to each other, and then in a lot of cases, I will think of darker shades of these colors to be... So I will see a darker shade of green and probably call it brown. And I will see a darker blue and go like, is it purple? It sucks. This game is a cool idea, but I kind of can't. Well, I mean, let's see the... Okay, well, I mean... Okay, see, 10 times is... Yeah, so... Yeah, now, you know... those balls should have symbols on them, is my point. What else? There was another one... Is it... Yeah. So their Puzzle Bobble ripoff. Same problem. Where like these and these all look these three and these two look the same to me. I could not tell you the difference between them. The rest of the colors I'm okay. But like I'm sure one is yellow and one is green, right? That's probably the difference. So, like, with these, I just kind of have to shoot them in the middle and go like, well, I hope... nope. Okay, well, fuck. And it's a shame because, well, is that gonna, no, okay, well. So I'm just having to guess with these ones and go like, no, okay. How about over here? Okay, yay. No, okay. Okay, what if I shoot this one over there? No, I missed it. Yeah, so those look identical to me, and then, you know, there, and the disappointing thing is that when you go to Stack Overflow, like they thought of this and solved this problem by putting symbols on the boxes. And so, like, here they anticipated a color issue and solved it. So those other two games just need that. I mean, if those balls just had symbols on them, or something like that, you know, I don't think there's anything in the settings that lets me, you know, go like symbols for a game, you know, like that sort of stuff. But yeah. Generally speaking, that's how my colorblindness works. But if you had to break it down, I think some of the common factors, and I don't, some of the common factors are around the color red, and my inability to detect, you know, mild shades of red and that sort of stuff. I remember them say, you know, there was something they would say like, oh, you know, back in the ancient times, colorblind people would be dead because they would eat the wrong berries, or you know, there's also something around, you know, so like when people blush, I can't really immediately pick up on that. Like my wife will be like, where did this boy get bruised? Where did this bruise come from on our son? And I'll just go like, what? I can't even see it. So, you know, it kind of surfaces in situations like that. And also situations where I don't trust myself cooking meat, because I can't look at a piece of steak and go like, yep, that's done. And yeah, I don't know. But, you know, generally speaking, it doesn't really come up. Except sometimes it just comes up all the time. Like, sometimes there's just like one thing after another of just like, oh man, a lot of shit out here. Anyway, I wanted to get into, I ended up with a lot of drinks here somehow. I'm really not quite sure how that, you know. Yeah, tipping your own Ethernet cables, like any kind of cable wiring, like, you know, I would probably not be good at disarming bombs on television shows, like all that sort of shit. Yeah, get a meat thermometer is the actual answer to that, and I just did that, but yeah. So, if you remember, we received a care package from Puerto Rico with some energy beverages, and this is the first one of these that I have chilled for drinking. This is a can of Cyclone Energy Drink Zero Acai, which seems like it could be fun. I'm gonna finish this orange juice I've got over here first, though. Okay. A network job. You had a network job in the Air Force, and you specifically cannot get that job if you're colorblind. Yeah. The thing that I always heard as a kid is like, well, you're never going to be able to be a fighter pilot if you can't see colors. And I was like, Even then, I think I was like, that seems like a really weird. Also, okay. I was never really much of a, like, I did not always have dreams of like, I'm going to fly a jet. Blow everybody up. The blow everybody up part, yes. The jet stuff, not so much. AJ in the Discord has posted an animated GIF of some kind of horrendous. It is a cow pile driving a dude. I don't know what. Yeah. I'm gonna stop looking at that. It's very distracting. It's very distracting. That's okay. That guy's just he's just taking pile drivers over, and there's, I don't. All right. Okay. Sorry. Hi. So yeah. Anyway, I thought it would be fun to get into this. It's a product of Austria, like all good energy drinks, your Red Bulls and whatnot. A refreshing energy drink with caffeine and vitamins enhance your personal performance. Pasteurized. Store in a cool, dark place. Best before, see base of can. That's funny. Like they wrote it like they were going to write a date there, and then instead just in parentheses wrote see base of can. Expires June 5th, 2024. Produced June 5th, 2022. Let's crack this open and see what it's about. Okay. It smells dirty fruit. It has a dirty fruit. There's, I mean, like, you know, it is an acai kind of scent, but there's a grime. There's a grit and a grime. It smells it smells like fresh fruit that needs to be washed, maybe? Is that the... There's something going on in here. Okay. Well, let's find out. Okay, yeah, that's an acai flavored beverage. Got a little zip on the back end of it. A little zing. A little pa-pow. A little tart. Yeah, that's This is a very fruit flavor. This does not have a lot of the kind of typical chemical profiling that an energy drink would have. I'm not getting a lot of the typical kind of back end, and it makes me wonder if there's even anything in this other than caffeine and quote unquote vitamins. Carbonated water, citric acid, so on and so forth. 0 calories. Is that okay? Wait a minute. We need to now this everything's backlit because of this stupid light, and I need to just. Oh. What? This isn't anything. So wait a minute. Okay, so this is 150 milligrams then. It says it's 74 milligrams per 8.3 ounces, but this is a 16.6 can. And they're like, it's 2 servings per can. Yeah, fuck you. So it's in the 150 range. That's pretty low. That's pretty low. But hey. Thanks to Zan for subscribing, and Chris Harris for keeping going. The Latinum Gremlin, who just realized you might be colorblind after seeing that stuff. Yeah. You know, anything's possible, I guess, right? I learned about my colorblindness in school. I got yelled at because I kept coloring, like I had to color people's faces, you know, because we were coloring, because we were, you know, in kindergarten or whatever it was, early school, and I kept coloring everyone's faces green. because I would look at a green crayon and go like, that seems like it's what skin looks like. I'm not sure. And so I would color it in, and they were yelling at me for coloring people green. And they went to my parents and said, he keeps doing it. And they were like, huh, wait a minute, what the fuck? What's going on here? Because I was, I guess apparently distraught about it, because I was like, why are you yelling at me? I'm coloring. I'm just coloring over here. To which I would say also, who gives a fuck if kids are coloring faces in green? Why would you yell at them? That's fucking crazy anyway. But, and then the other big one that comes up, when the other big one is I had a plastic set of golf clubs and golf balls and stuff. And, the golf club was orange and I lost it in the grass and couldn't find it. And, my parents would be like, it stands out. It's like super fucking obvious. And I'm just like wandering around going like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. So they eventually took me to go get whatever tests people get. And they were like, yo, you're colorblind. I'm like, okay. Which I think, I guess it should have been maybe a little, I don't know. I have an uncle, one of my mom's brothers is colorblind. So I don't know. But it's not, I don't know. There's a lot of people who don't really know what colorblindness is. They think that you see everything in black and white, which would be a fucking trip. But no. And of course, over the years, people are like, get the glasses. They make those glasses. And that company made those glasses. That company actually reached out to me years ago and said like, hey, do you want some of these? To check them out? You have a social media following. We'll send them to you. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And so I got like 3 or 4 pairs. I bought a pair, and then they reached out later and said, hey, we've made them better. And then they sent me like 3 or 4 of them, some that were good for like computer screens, because originally they were just sunglasses, and they were like, you can only use these outside. I was like, well, I don't go outside, so what the fuck? And so I made it a point to wear them, like, because it takes a while. This is why they put out these videos of people like putting on the glasses and then immediately like fucking having They Live style breakdowns about what they were seeing. But like the instructions that come with the glasses are like, you should wear these for like a week before you start to really see any difference. And for me, that's exactly how it was. Like over time wearing it, I would notice stuff like, the yellow on a traffic light looks different. And it was it was like, I don't know. So my favorite color is orange. But it's what I see as orange. That's my favorite color, right? So which is orange. I mean, that's been my favorite shades of orange are definitely orange. But when I was wearing those glasses, the yellow on like the yellow on a stoplight and a yellow on like a taxi and stuff like that had more of an orangish tinge to them. And I was like, that's a more pleasant color. But also, what the fuck? Wait, are taxis orange? What is yellow? What is orange? And so there was just a lot of fucking weird stuff like that of like, I have no idea what colors are, I guess. I had a purple hoodie that just looked blue to me, and people kept going like, oh, do you work for Twitch? And then I would turn around and they would see it was definitely not a Twitch hoodie, because that's San Francisco for you. Ugh. After wearing the glasses for a while, I started to see a little bit more of the red coming through on that thing. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like I had a moment where I was like in the car and I looked down and went like, wait a minute, this is purple. And even though people had said that, it was like, it started to look like what I think purple is supposed to look like. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. It's not that big a deal at the end of the day, but yeah. Yeah, Hunter orange. Yeah, that safety orange, fucking maximum orange. That's the shit I love. Prison fucking jumpsuit ass fucking orange. Why did I stop wearing them? Because it just didn't, it didn't really, it wasn't really doing that much. And I don't want to wear just color correcting glasses all the time. I need to get actual real glasses. I couldn't get an optometrist appointment until October. But yeah, so I don't know. And also, like, they look like sunglasses. They didn't all darken. They didn't all darken everything. There were some that were definitely sunglasses, and some that were meant for computer screens and stuff like that. But a lot of them looked like they were sunglasses ever so slightly. And I remember when you wear them, you want to wear them for a long period of time, especially when you're first adjusting to them, they say. So I would put them on for like basically and wear them for like a week. And I wore them to PAX. And I was wearing them all through PAX one year in Seattle, I guess. Yeah, Seattle. And I remember I was walking back from dinner with somebody, and I was just walking up the street, minding my owns, and 3 dudes walked by who had been drinking, and they look at me, and they go, "What, this fucking guy with his fucking sunglasses on at night? We should fucking kick his ass." And I was just like, I'm just like walking. I'm just like, what the fuck? Why? What? So yeah, I don't know. It's neat. Like the glasses were neat. It was neat to be able to put them on and go like, oh, okay. And like start to like understand. Cause like the other thing that it's done, is it's put me in a position where I don't ever think about color. Since I know I can't trust my eyes on it, I never ever think about it. I don't process it. Like I kind of ignore it in, like if I'm looking quickly at something, I'm going to notice its shape before I notice its color. You know what I mean? It's like a lower priority thing. And I forget where I was going with that, but yeah, anyway, you know, it was always kind of just it was neat to start to think about, that's where I was going. It was neat to think about color and how color actually works and what colors make other colors and stuff like that, because like I never bothered to go like, what this color makes this color into this color. But it's not, so I guess my point is, it's not like seeing a new color for the first time. To answer the question in chat, it's not like I saw colors I had never seen before per se. It's just that it would take extreme versions of a color to stand out. Like you would have to have a lot of red in your purple for me to go like, oh yeah. And this made more subtle shades stick out. But also like, I don't know, you know, when people are like, it's robin's egg blue and it's sky blue and it's this type of blue. Like, I don't know what the fuck any of that means. Unless I'm staring at crayons and reading names of crayons and go, robin's egg blue. Okay, so it's like a light blue. Why don't you just say light blue? And so yeah, it's the knock-on effect has been that I just don't really ever think about color. And the only times it ever really comes up, you know, like puzzle games like that, it's very obvious. Like we showed those examples in Arcade Paradise. Like it's very obvious because that's a very color-focused game. A less noticeable effect for me, the example I go to was Doom, the Doom reboot. Where, and this is something that happens across a lot of games, but I just never notice, when they will put a light above a door that says, you know, and if the light is red, then you know that door is not going to open. I run up to every door. It's never something that I even consider. So if they put like a subtle red light above, well, to me, a subtle red light above a door, as opposed to a white or a green light or something like that, like all that sort of stuff. Like, you know, that was something I noticed and went like, oh yeah, I never, I just run up to every door or, you know, and the first door that opens, right, is like, oh, okay, great. But if there's 2 doors in a room and the first one opens and the other one has a red light above it, I'm just as likely to turn around and go, oh shit, I should check and see if that door, because which one's the right way to go? Maybe they both open and then the other one doesn't open. I go, oh, okay. So yeah, do I use colorblind modes in games that offer them? Not really, because they don't fucking do anything. So Doom has a colorblind filter, but it puts like, it basically makes the whole game look slightly more red. And it doesn't help because, again, after years of training myself that I can't trust color, adjusting the filter on it is not going to suddenly turn that on, you know? So all that does is make the game look weird. Like, all I can know is like, oh, something about this looks off. And so colorblind modes in games are generally completely awful. When it comes to like a full screen filter, that doesn't do anything. I've never had a case where like turning that on maybe go like, oh, thank God. All I really want, and this is something that is mostly specific to competitive shooters, and this is something that Titanfall did really well. I'm pretty sure Apex does it really well. I want to be able to set the colors for everything. I want to be able to go in and say like, okay, I want my enemies, the highlight on my enemy on the map, or whether it's, you know, whatever the red, like, hey, the reticle is going to turn red when you aim over them. I want that to be like a fucking neon crazy weird color, like a big bright green. And then I want people on my team that can be like a light blue or something, you know, like, I just want to be able to configure those colors, because what I need is for them to stand out against the background. If a reticle in a game turns red when I hover over an enemy, in some cases, depending on the background, and yes, Halo Infinite does it really well as well. It's becoming more and more of the standard these days. But I remember when Titanfall was doing it, it felt like it was something that was like not happening very often. But that red reticle, depending on what's behind it, you know, what if it's a dark map, it's a, you know, whatever the color of the map behind it, sometimes that reticle, it almost completely disappears for me. It doesn't, that's an exaggeration, but it's lost against the background. And so it's not as easy to see as it should be. And so I want to be able to configure those colors and make that stuff stand out. And so those are changes that I look to make in competitive shooters. And generally speaking, I'll say that just having the you know, like enter, you know, like it's a toggle of like set color blindness from this to this, instead of letting you just configure the colors yourself. I want to be able to configure the colors myself all the time. Show me a typical game screen and show me where these elements show up in game, so I know how they're used, and let me change them accordingly. Just having something that says like, all right, you set it to Protonopia, and now you get these 3 colors instead. Those are almost always still somehow not quite right. So it's, you know, yeah. It's fucking weird. I don't know. Like I got weird eyes. I don't know. I always thought, you know, and this is something my dad would say when I was a kid. He said, you know, maybe by the time you grow up, they'll have something that they can just inject in your eyes and fix your color blindness. They can, you know, grow new rods and cones on your mutant eyeballs or something like that. And I know that there's been I thought I read something about that kind of work being done, but that it was leading to fucking endless headaches or something insane like that. So it was not, the science was maybe not there yet. But I don't know. If I could fix it, I would. If it was like a good, solid, real fix. And the glasses didn't feel like that. The glasses felt like a half step, like a quarter step, you know. It was just like, oh, okay, this is sort of interesting, okay. But it didn't really do it. And also it probably is one of those situations where, like, if you corrected it, whether it was with glasses or how, you know, or science, or, you know, shooting goop in your eyeballs or whatever it was, whatever this magical solution ended up being, I bet that you would get it, and it would probably take your brain a lot of time to grow new, like, neural pathways to process and understand what those colors are. Right? Because it wouldn't be something that would happen overnight. Like your brain, you know, especially, you know, like I've had decades of my brain knowing what these colors are and just going accordingly. And so I bet if like suddenly my eyes worked differently, my brain would be like, what I don't know what the fuck I don't know what this is. We're going to ignore this for now. And then maybe eventually it would fix itself, or, you know, like that sort of stuff would happen. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Eyeballs. They're fucking weird. This drink is okay. It's just not enough. You know what I mean? This is this is 148 milligrams of caffeine, which that's less than a Rockstar Recovery. And it's just not enough. It's just not enough. Let's add it to the list, and then we can move on. Okay. All right, that's okay. Damn it. Come on now. Highlight this. Copy. Paste. There we go. Anubis asking, will I be doing more guest spots on other shows? Yeah, I don't have anything lined up right now. But yes, I'm going to say yes, probably. And I have a growing list of people that I want to have guest on the podcast on Tuesdays as well, that I just I haven't locked down any definitive times with anybody, so yeah. This almost, I mean, it's billed as an energy drink, so we have to consider it as such. But it's tempting to just put this on a different list or something. But it is a 0-calorie energy drink, and that is what everything else on this list is. And as such, I think we have to put it on the list. I'm going to say it's going to end up being pretty low. Well, I don't, taste-wise, it's pretty good. Or it's not very chemically, like again, it's got a certain tartness to it that is pleasant. But it's lower than some of these other 160s and stuff. It is low. So I'm going to say it's probably not as good as a Monster Energy Ultra Peachy Keen. But it's in that range. Like, this is a good flavor zone. I'm going to say, that this is better than Rockstar Recovery Pineapple Coconut, which we tried earlier in the week, and I think that ended up on my TikTok account over at Fred Durst 2000. I think it's not as good as, because again, G Fuel is 300 milligrams, so at least it's got that going for it. So what it lacks in flavor, it at least has a bit of a it's got a punch to it. It's going to hit you. It's going to do the thing that you're hoping to get done. And so I'm going to say that we're going to put, let's see here, make sure I Cyclone Energy Drink 0 acai. And we're not going to put all the diacritics, what are they? And so that is our new list. We've got it right here at number. It's a top 20 energy drink. I'm happy to have tried it. I still got the Rain Red Dragon. Yeah, I had a Rain. So I add drinks to this list on the weekend and stuff when I'm not streaming, but sometimes I'm still encountering new drinks. So this list does sometimes grow. I had the Rain Inferno Watermelon Warlord, which is great because it sounds like a Riff Raff album title. And it was a pretty weak flavor overall, but relatively powerful. It was decent. I was into it. So shout out to the Watermelon Warlord. His new mixtape dropping. Got Lil Debbie on there. Michelle Obama Part 2. Rockstar Zero Mandarin Orange. Yeah, that's a heck of a drink. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that I've had, like, over the years that I didn't put on the list because I wanted to try to drink them again with the ranking stuff in mind instead of just like throwing them on the list from memory. You know what I mean? So yeah. That's pretty decent though. Thanks to Mini Tick and Priority 7, Null Scan, Madism, Johan Aussie. I'm gonna say I'm probably pronouncing that right. For taking part in September. Just like Bear Girl 100 taking part in September.
Enjoy your gaming.
September. If I say it enough times, eventually the captions figure it out. September. Yeah, see, it got that third one. And even capitalized it. It's weird because this stuff is like server based, so it's sending. I don't know what it's sending, but it sends this off to Google somehow, and then the captions come back. I think is how that works. I don't think it's just doing this locally. So. Yeah, sending it straight to Google as opposed to Amazon. It's fine. All this audio was already going to Amazon, so it can go to Google as well. Anniversary of the Dreamcast today. Kind of cool. 23 years. Peter Moore was out there posting on Twitter, showing some of the various trinkets and like launch stuff and a little award for the biggest day in retail of all time or at the time or whatever it was and all that sort of stuff. It's funny to think about the Dreamcast now. It's people. I think it's so far removed from how people felt about the Dreamcast at the time. Like, all that's left is the fond feelings of Dreamcast. We love the Dreamcast. You're right. Phoebe. We do love the Dreamcast. But at the time, it felt, you watching it all go down, you definitely got the impression that you were just like watching the Dreamcast and watching Sega get blown the fuck out. By Sega. Yeah, I was. Yes, I where was I when the Dreamcast died? It's true. I was on the toilet. I was sick. I had some kind of that. That's not to say that is not any additional info about the toilet situation. I was not sick in that way, but I did have a cold or something, and so I was staying home from work. And I called into their press conference because the rumors for the past couple of days had already been like, "Hey, Sega's done. Like they're done." And I was like, that can't be true. No way. But then they called that press conference. And as soon as they called the press conference, it was like, oh, shit, they're fucking done. And then you started hearing stories from retail about like, yep, they're packing it up. They're getting it out. They're blowing it out. Like even before the announcement, like retail seemed like they had started to move on finishing up on the Dreamcast. And then, yeah, you had Peter Moore. And I think it was just Peter Moore. That sounds right. No, anyway, I think maybe there were multiple people on that phone call, but and they said basically effective immediately that they were getting out of the retail business. They were getting out of the hardware business. And we had heard this caused a ton of turmoil internally. So we had heard that Acclaim had acquired the rights to Crazy Taxi and a couple of other Sega Dreamcast era properties to publish on PlayStation 2, which that story was even older than this was like maybe a couple of months before they made the announcement, and that just seemed crazy. And I'm trying to decide if I'm going to say people's names in this or if I'm going to leave people's names out of it. But I think I've told this story before, but I don't remember if I... Anyway. Someone I was working with at GameSpot was dating someone who was doing public relations for Acclaim. And he saw the plan about, hey, Crazy Taxi, or hey, these games are coming to PS2 and all that other stuff. And that Acclaim had the rights to it. And they wanted to run this as news. And a couple of us were like, that seems like an incredibly, like, we need to know how you know this. We need to, like, before we can run this, because we know that you have this relationship, when that's super weird. And that became a big fight. That became a big fight internally. I don't remember if we ended up running the story or not. We may not have, because it just seemed shitty. I don't know. And so that was the first inkling, I think, of like something is going on with Sega. You can't burn your source, you can't reveal your source. I'm okay. Like, yes, but also like internally to the other people that you work with, sometimes you need to like, hey, do you have this from two separate sources? Is this a, like in the lineage of that information seemed very tainted given the circumstances. And so in that specific situation, it kind of required a bit more scrutiny, I guess I would say. But yeah, anyway, that was kind of the first inkling of like, hey, something's going crazy with Sega. Something weird is happening with Sega. And then, not too long after that, I wish I could remember the exact, like, when that stuff went down and then when Sega actually got out. But it felt, I don't know, it felt bad. It was like one of those things that felt bad, but also like as you were hearing them on the call talk about getting out of the hardware market, it was easy to just nod your head and go, yeah, I get it. Like the Dreamcast was, I mean, they made it 3 years, right? I mean, it was 2000, like it launched late 99, and then it was like sometime in 01, right? Yeah, March 2001. So that's not even... Well, if you go by the Japanese release date of November 98, that's a slightly better... That's a slightly better, but Jesus. Okay, so September 99, then you have your September 2000, and then next fucking March. So like not even 2 years in the US. Yeah, that's... Wikipedia says worldwide they sold 9.13 million units worldwide, which is nothing. I mean, I guess, well, no, that's like nothing. That's like nothing. I was going to say for the early 2000s, maybe that's a little bit better, but no, that's bad. That's a bad number. And yeah, it's was a shame, but but it was a shame as someone who was a longtime Sega fan and as someone who still loves the Genesis and still, you know, and all that sort of stuff. But you know, let's be. I think we can be honest with ourselves now and say, hey, the Genesis was the high water mark, and even that didn't do all that well in Japan. The Genesis caught on in the US. This is all stuff we talked about on the second episode of Game Boys to Men, actually, which you can find on Patreon at patreon.com/Jeff Gerstmann or dopeassvideogames.com if you're looking for an easier way to get there. Glenn and I had spent some time talking about the Genesis era of Sega. And next time we're going to go deep on the Sega CD and maybe even touch a little bit on the Saturn because of how weird the Saturn launched. But I think every you look at everything past the Genesis, Sega was scrambling. Sega was trying to figure out, like, what's next? What do we do next? How does it happen? All that other stuff. But like the Genesis, the Mega Drive, whatever you want to call it, my understanding is that it was not burning up the charts in Japan. It was just something that did well in Europe and something that did well in the US, and, you know, was marketed extremely well in the US. And, you know, it makes a lot of sense for the Genesis, for the Mega Drive to do well in Europe because it's similar hardware to an Amiga. And so you have a lot of European developers that are already used to some of that architecture, and they're able to make Mega Drive games a little more easily than maybe they would be for Super Nintendo games and stuff like that. And so you saw a lot of European development really kind of rise over the course of that generation. But, you know, everything past the Genesis, everything past even the Sega CD, everything they did hardware-wise past the Genesis felt like them not really sure what to do or anything like that. And everything before the Genesis, you know, it's like the Master System was burning it up in any territory except for Brazil. And so you start to look at it and go like, yeah, I guess maybe Sega was never really like for all of the Sega versus Nintendo stuff we saw through the 16-bit era and all of that sort of stuff, like, they were never really a massive threat at home. They were never really on equal footing to their competitors at home. You know, the Saturn, they tried to launch it early, and then it launched with not enough games, and then you could argue that they didn't bring enough games out from, you know, the Japanese market, but also the Saturn was not equipped for the fight with PlayStation. The hardware was not ready for where gaming was going, and so it just never was able to take off. You know, you could look at the Master System and say like, oh, you know, when Tonka was handling marketing for the Master System, they didn't want to spend money to bring games over to the US, and so the library suffered, and so it was never going to gain a foothold anyway. And then the Dreamcast came out, and it's like it's ahead of its time in a lot of cool ways because it had a modem built in and all this other stuff, and, you know, it looked great, and it was really ahead of its time compared to the stuff that came before it. But also it came out in that weird half step, half mid-generation sort of thing that allowed the PlayStation 2 to come out and just roll over it, and allowed like the hype for the PlayStation 2 to roll over it. They didn't even have to sell a PS2 to put Dreamcast out of business. All they had to do was say, PlayStation 2's coming, and it's going to make all these games look like shit. And the PlayStation was so over, brother, that you know, that Sega kind of never really stood a chance. So you were always pulling for them because they were, you know, even in the post-Kalinsky era, they were good people. Saturn era, they got a little weird. I don't know, but like through the Dreamcast era, a lot of good people working at Sega in the US, or, you know, maybe I just was exposed to them a little bit more than I was during the Saturn era. I don't know. But yeah, it was just a weird thing. But yeah, we're going to get into... So yeah, the second episode of Game Boys to Men, we're talking all about the Genesis and a little bit about the Master System and stuff like that, but it's really about Sega and how they rose to power, and some of the trips we took to Sega's offices to see like Sonic 2 before it came out, and all of that sort of stuff, and conversations we had with people at Sega at the time, when they were riding high. And then the next time we reconvene to record, we're going to talk about Sega CD, and probably 32X will end up lumped in there as well, if not even a slight bit of the early Saturn days, just because of how that stuff went down. And yeah, so I don't know. Happy anniversary to the Dreamcast. Phantasy Star Online is one of the greatest games ever made, and it was certainly ahead of its time. It was console Diablo at a time when that was a very hard thing to achieve. That amazing home port of Soul Calibur. Choo Choo Rocket. Like I'm looking at a list of Dreamcast games, and I'm trying to think, like, what are the standout Dreamcast games? Like, what would you recommend? This is my question for you, both on the Discord and on Twitch here. Like, what are the games you would recommend? Like, what are the games today, meaning? Like, because a lot of these games came out other places. So, like, is this the definitive version of Marvel vs. Capcom 2? Like, maybe, I don't know, Third Strike came out other places. You can play the arcade version of Third Strike emulated in a lot of places. Like, what's the stuff? Is it, a lot of Jet Set Radios? Sure, Rival Schools. I mean, yeah, Power Stone. Power Stone makes a lot of sense. Yeah, Soul Reaver. That probably is the definitive version of Soul Reaver. They're pretty good versions of Tony Hawk 1 and 2, but I probably still would say it just controls better on a PlayStation controller. Yeah, Pen Triathlon. That's definitely... Yeah, Pen Triathlon, Godzilla Generations, all the hits. Code Veronica. Yeah, Code Veronica is a weird one because it doesn't... They've not put Code Veronica out anywhere in a very long time, right? Didn't they do versions for like PS2 like that? It's on PS. Code Veronica made it to PS4. Okay. I feel like for the longest time, Code Veronica was the one that just was getting left by the wayside. Yeah, Code Veronica X. Yeah. Giant Graham Wrestling. Sure. Rez. Yep. But Rez came out in that weird lane at the end where, it ran better on a PlayStation 2. Cosmic Smash, and like one of the last Dreamcast games, probably, right? Hell of a game that you can see the arcade version of that in some places, but not super easily. There's that Royal Rumble game, that WWF game that's like super super bad. I tried playing some of that a little bit ago, and yeah. And then some people like Shenmue. They're crazy. They've always been crazy. They've always been crazy. It's kind of cool that Yakuza came along and like actually like took some of those concepts and turned it into a proper video game. It took them a long time, but yep, Samba de Amigo, hell of a game. I love Samba de Amigo. It's super fun. Maracas are just fun to use. I'm still looking through this list, because for me it's always stuff like and these are multi-platform games, but they're games that, like, when you think about the early days of Dreamcast and what it meant, Ready to Rumble Boxing as a launch game, like, it just looked dynamic. Like, no one talks about it now, and like I get it. It's not like it's some amazing video game, but at the time, like, you looked at it and was like, this looks quite a bit better than the other stuff that's out there. It's got like a lot of flavor to it. And was like conceptually fun. I don't know. I never, like, I played a lot of Ready to Rumble 1, and then by the time Ready to Rumble 2 came out, I was like, all right, whatever. Those are the best home versions of Blitz, I guess. Blitz 2000 and 2001 on the Dreamcast. Kind of by default, because an analog stick is still not quite how you want to play that. Mars Matrix. What else? Yeah, Blue Stinger, Tokyo Extreme Racer. Like those games went on for a lot of years after that. Jimmy White's 2, Cue Ball. Anyone? Ill Bleed, anyone? Gigawing 1 and 2. MDK2 came out on the Dreamcast. There was a version of Matt Hoffman. Outrigger. Yeah, it's a Rent a Hero #1. It's a really strange list of games, you know, because you got some arcade ports and like Hydro Thunder and Rush 2049. Wikipedia is saying the PS2 wasn't officially revealed until after the Dreamcast launched. Was it just theoretical PS2 hype that killed the Dreamcast, or stuff that happened after the Dreamcast launch? It was theoretical hype in a lot of ways. You know, you would hear about a PlayStation 2 coming out, and I think there were a lot of players that like loved their PlayStation so much that it was a couple of things, right? And this is something you have to think about it in terms of the mainstream market, right? Because that mainstream market was the market that said, oh, geez, you don't have Madden, huh? Well, I'm going to wait for the PlayStation 2 because that's where Madden is going to be. Which is crazy because NFL 2K was like, you know, thought of as a better playing football game at the time and a great football game in its own right, you know, that Madden was not exactly like at a high point gameplay wise at the time. Even I tried to play some NFL 2K and I don't even really care about football that much. But those games just looked good and were fun, and felt good. You know, the little charge up turbo, little arrow filling up, like that sort of stuff. Yeah. I don't know. But it was it was based on a lot of theoreticals and stuff and not on a lot of hard facts. And so it was always it's a weird thing to look back at now, you know? Sports Jam. All those episode 1 games that came to every platform. Star Wars Demolition. Jeez. That was a weird era for Star Wars games for sure. Those UFC games were awesome. Those were really good. Zombie Revenge. Was there a Virtua Cop on the... Yeah, Virtua Cop 2. Looks like that maybe only came out in Japan. Did they not do the light gun in the US? Was that something that they held off of doing? I'm trying to remember if they did light gun games in the US or if there was some kind of weird like and they decided not to put it out, but Elemental Gimmick Gear. Of course, Skies of Arcadia. Oh yeah, House of the Dead 2. That's what it was, yeah. Yeah, no first party light gun because of the Columbine stuff, right? Yeah. I knew there was something weird about light guns on the Dreamcast. Death Crimson Ox. Dead or Alive 2, hell of a game. Some good Daytona on there. Yeah, it's a fascinating list. And of course, Capcom versus SNK 1 and 2 came out there. 2 only came out in Japan. But is just one of the greatest fighting games ever made. Mark of the Wolves, really good Dreamcast version of that. That was the weird thing. So they didn't, you know, there's Cool Tune, which had link cable connectivity with the Neo Geo Pocket Color, sort of the same way a GBA could hook up to a GameCube. They put out a link cable for the Neo Geo Pocket Color, and it worked in like, I don't know, 3 games and didn't do anything all that interesting in any of those games. So like Cool Tune would link with Cool Jam on the Pocket. And I think one of the SNK fighting games did something. I can't remember. was like you would earn points and trade them back and forth between the portable and the I forget what it was. Yeah, terrible games like Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2. And Sonic Shuffle. Awful driving games like Spirit of Speed 1937, another Acclaim banger. Street Fighter 3, they put out that Double Impact and then put out Third Strike separately. Really good version of Alpha 3, though. Really good Alpha 3. Geez, what else? Tokyo Bus Guide. What else do you need? TNN Motorsports Hardcore Heat. It's just a weird amalgamation of games. And then there were situations where it's like, like Virtua Fighter 3 is probably the worst game in the series. Like that dodge button stuff sucked. That was not a cool addition to the franchise, which is why they never used it again. And so like that being an early Dreamcast game. And I remember people picking apart the fucking shadows in the Dreamcast version of VF3 TB compared to the arcade version's shadows. And I remember just being like, it doesn't matter. Like it's not a good game. It's not a good fighting game. VF3 was never a good fighting game. And then just I got some of the weird kind of shitty games that like a PlayStation would get, like Who Wants to Beat Up a Millionaire. Just weird garbage like that. Tetris 4D. I remember that being okay. I remember being an okay version of Tetris, if I remember right. But yeah, it's been a long time. Did I mess with Bleemcast at all? Yeah, like a little bit. It was like a neat idea, but it just didn't. I don't know. I was messing around a little bit with the Virtual Game Station. Is that what it was called? VGS, the Connectix emulator that played PlayStation games. I believe it played them better on a Mac than it did on a PC. But I think they did eventually do a Windows version of it. Revolt was cool. A fun, like, I have fond memories of Quake 3 on the Dreamcast, even though that's just conceptually ridiculous. But when I look over the list, like, like games that, like how many of these games matter now? And because, it was a great version of Mark of the Wolves, but now we are inundated with many versions of Mark of the Wolves that we can play on many platforms, and they are all close to arcade perfect and all of that sort of stuff. And so and this happens to a lot of platforms, right? Like it's the thing that happens, I think, most of all when you go and find you go and track down a British person and you say, tell me about the great games on the Amiga, and they rattle off all of these games that are ports from arcade games or ports from other platforms, and you're like, you realize that there's like 4 better versions of this than the one that you played, right? And so it's hard to go back now and look at the full Amiga library and go, how many of these games still matter today? I think the Amiga is like a really fascinating platform, and it's fun to go back to see it. But a lot of these games have been superseded, and a lot of these games have been kind of replaced by emulated versions of arcade games and all of that sort of stuff. Like it's cool that there's it was awesome at the time that the DOS version of Mortal Kombat was better than any of the console versions, and like had better sound effects, like better better music, better graphics. Like it was just closer to arcade quality and all that stuff. But we're at a time where loading up the arcade version of Mortal Kombat is a relatively trivial task, and so that's just not as interesting as maybe it was then. Because then I played that DOS version of Mortal Kombat nonstop because it was such a good version of the game. And they would go on to do great ports of 2 and 3 and stuff for the PC as well, which was cool. As opposed to the butt-ass, dirt-ass, gross-ass ports of Street Fighter 2 that showed up on DOS. I remember buying a boxed copy of, I think it was Super Street Fighter 2, that came with a 6-button gamepad that I couldn't get to work. And that thing ran like garbage. It looked okay at times, but did not run at an acceptable speed. And I had a relatively high-end PC at the time. It was a Pentium. No, I don't know. This might even been 486 days pre-Pentium. I'm not sure. But it's kind of the interesting thing now when you go back to these libraries, because like if you were looking at like if you were trying to purely say what are the 10 best Dreamcast games and not qualifying it in any way, you would probably end up with some arcade ports and all of that other stuff on there as well. But if you were trying to say, hey, it's 2022, what are the 10 Dreamcast games I should see now? Like, now that's an incredibly different list, right? Because Sonic Adventure has been published and republished to death, right? So do you need to see the original? Do you need to see Sonic Adventure 1? I might argue that you would never have need to have seen Sonic Adventure 1 or 2. Like nowadays, would you say, hey, you should check out, like, don't play it, but you should learn about Seaman and see what Seaman is all about. You should see what these captions are getting really good though. You should see what Seaman is all about. Because it's such a crazy thing, you know, and that's cool. But you wouldn't say, you've got to go back and see Le Mans 24 hours. You've got this test drive game is really great. Like you just, you know, you probably would not go back to that and say like, you've got to take a look at, I mean, no, I was going to say Typing of the Dead, but maybe Typing of the Dead is an exception because like that's the arcade version of that is not exactly easy to see these days either. So that probably still is, even though there's been some PC ports and updates and stuff like that around, like that's probably still one that would be worth looking at, especially if you're looking at it as like, you know, hey, the Dreamcast was inventive and it was doing things that other platforms weren't doing. Like that probably is something that stands out, but and maybe you still take Power Stone, because I feel like even though like Power Stone shipped on Naomi, right? There were arcade versions. Yeah, that originally was released in arcades, as was Power Stone 2. But and there's that PSP version, I guess, too. But you know, so I mean, you would probably still consider Power Stone as like a Dreamcast game first and foremost, because the Naomi hardware is pretty much identical. So it's not like there's a dramatically better arcade version out there to go look at. Like the Dreamcast version may very well be the definitive versions of those games, and so that's probably still a case where you would call those out. It's the best version of Razor's Freestyle Scooter, that's for sure. Probably the best version of Rayman 2, right? Space Channel 5 is it's amazing. It's not, you know, I think we can, I think if we really think about it these days, Space Channel 5 has impeccable style. It's worth seeing for that alone. And I do not want to demean it. But as a video game, it is, you know, simplistic, even by the rhythm game standards of its day. And those games ended up, they did end up coming to other platforms. I remember the ports, especially those early ports when Acclaim was putting stuff out elsewhere. Like, and they were just publishing, right? I think Sega was actually doing the work on the ports themselves, if I remember correctly. Anyway, you would have situations where like the Dreamcast version might have better lighting or something like that, but also you would have situations where it's like, oh, the Dreamcast version runs at 30 and the PS2 version runs at 60, you know, just like weird weird stuff like that would kind of get in the way. Oh, that's right. Soldier of Fortune came to the Dreamcast. Remember that hot dismemberment simulator, Soldier of Fortune? God. I remember those being decent PC games. Is there any way? Those games aren't on Steam, are they? Yeah, I can't go play. Dead Rising 2 Soldier of Fortune pack is the only thing that comes up. Darn. Yeah. I think it's Phantasy Star Online. I think inside and out, top to bottom, if I was like, when I think of the Dreamcast, that is always, always, always the very first game that comes to mind is PSO. And then it's Ms. Pac-Man Maze Madness. I think we can all agree. No? Looney Tunes Space Race, you know. But that's, you know, Soul Reaver came out of the Dreamcast. That's a hell of a version of that game. Cow the Kangaroo. Gun Spike. Oh, I remember that. Remember that F355 challenge, the Ferrari thing they did. I remember that being an absolutely abysmal video game. Like they were trying to build a simulator, but it was still a Dreamcast game. It was just like, this is not a way to simulate driving a car. And yeah, Floigan Brothers. Everyone loves Floigan Brothers, of course. You know, you can't talk about the Dreamcast without talking about Floigan Brothers. Really set the pace for Sega going forward in terms of, you know, their big franchises, it being Floigan Brothers and Floigan Brothers. Crazy Taxi 2, that's probably a good, yeah, because there did Crazy Taxi 2 get ported anywhere else? I'll admit, I like Crazy Taxi 1, and I don't really have a big interest in 2 or 3. Okay, so they put Crazy Taxi 2 out on that PSP thing. It was a compilation. And this came out late, huh? So yeah, like the Dreamcast got discontinued in March, and this game didn't come out until May. So I remember that. They still had a handful of games. Like Alien Front Online was caught in that weird window, right? August 2001. That was a weird one because like Alien Front Online seemed like a really cool idea, and it played reasonably well in arcades. And so like having seen it before it came out, I was definitely like, oh man, that game's going to come out. It might be a big deal for online Dreamcast games. And then they went and killed the Dreamcast. And I remember trying to play that game when it was coming out, when it was new, and having trouble finding matches because just no one bought it. You know? It's a shame. That game was all right for what it was, if I remember correctly. I mean, yeah, it's been a long time, right? Propeller Arena, yeah. Propeller Arena getting canceled. Very, very Gooster on the Discord saying that it got canceled because it was coming out right around the time that 9/11 happened, and so they didn't want plain games, I guess. The next Tetris Online Edition. Yeah, it's an eclectic list of games. I mean, but that's kind of been the Sega thing, right? Of like, if you go back now and look at lists of games that came out on Sega platforms through, you know, like if you, I'm saying if you go back and look at the Saturn and look at all the games that came out on the Saturn, it is a similarly eclectic list of just a bunch of weird shit. And that's awesome because we don't get enough weird. You know what? Actually, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say we don't get enough weird shit anymore, but that's not true. Weird shit comes out on Steam all the time. I think it's just, you know, the difference is that weird shit doesn't get marketed and put out on disc and put out in magazines and placed alongside games that are not weird shit. You know, now they just get cordoned off onto Steam somewhere, and some of them catch on and some of them don't, and you're like, I don't know, what am I looking at here? I'm scrolling through Steam here. What are the new and trending games on Steam? Let's just look at new releases. Jack Move. I know that the Jack Move is actually a bad example of this. Axis Football 2023. It's an unlicensed football game that they've been making for a few years now. And even that's not that weird. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of games come out now. At the end of the day, Trail Out, as we played it yesterday. Which, if you weren't watching the stream, it just crashed over and over again. So I don't know that there's going to be an archive of that anywhere. Yeah, there's a lot of one-armed cook. What? Farmer Against Potatoes Idol. Guild Wars 2. Now, what even is that? What's a guild? I don't know. It's yeah, it's a different business now. So, you know, like consoles, but now consoles get all this stuff, right? Because if you go look at the eShop, if you go digging through the PlayStation store, you start to see a lot of stuff that's like $2, and you just look at it and go like, what am I looking at here? It's cool that people can self-publish, but oh my gosh. Stuff is insane. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird times. I forgot to tweet that we were streaming. I'm going to just very quickly go over here and say, hey, I'm streaming. We're talking about Dreamcast games and such. And then I'm going to type in a URL. That is the URL for the stream this time. That's my big plan. Yeah, I don't know. It's fascinating to go back and look at this stuff because of just how, if you think about it, like the process of having to put a game out on disc and go through publisher approvals and stuff. Like a lot of these console manufacturers were extremely gatekeepy when it came to games coming out on platforms, on their platform, and then even when it came to Japanese games being localized for the US, you had situations where, you know, a Sony or somebody might step in and go like, that's not the image we're trying to portray about our console in the US. So take your 2D game and hit the bricks, which is insane. But at the same time, I get it. They're playing a very mainstream, casual kind of play there in terms of how they market the console and all that sort of stuff. And, you know, they want to market it a very specific way and try to have very specific types of games on it. And in the early days, that makes a ton of sense. And then over time, they certainly relaxed a little bit when it came to, they're just like, fuck it, put out whatever. I want to see, this is, you know, yeah, in honor of the Dreamcast, what better game to play than, I don't know why. I'm going to fire this up real quick and see if it works. Okay, let's try and, let's see here. It's a quality boot up noise for sure. Oh, when you see the scale up to the glowing Crave Entertainment billboard at the start of your game, you know you've found quality. Look at this. Look at this friggin' start screen. This is definitely not going to be the ideal way to play this game, I can tell you. Let's see if we can get a look at what... Oh, it has mouse and keyboard support. That's funny. Push left on the D-pad to jump. This looks like a friggin' mess. All right, let's see if we can actually make this work, huh? If I do this... Will that work? Let's... All right, we need to turn our sensitivity way down. I still don't know if the keyboard works, but let's go in the tutorial and see what happens. I might need to turn on more control ports on the emulator just so I can still have a gamepad hooked up somewhere. Nope, the keyboard doesn't work. Darn. Yeah, I've got...
John, glad you could make it. The shop wanted me to run
you through.
Tactical course before your upcoming mission. After all, even a seasoned vet like you needs...
Oh, and I don't know how to... A way to get out of the game now.
Okay, let's begin.
Oh, this will still work. That'll still work. Okay. All right. Well, it was worth a shot. Let's go back to controller here and see. Oh, all this stuff. I wonder if that... Weird. Anyway. Did I also just break all of the...
Walk up to the door ahead of you and use it.
Okay, so the left stick just looks around. And the 4 face buttons move you around. That makes sense. It's like backwards from how you kind of want. Yeah, left on the D-pad jumps, sure enough.
That's right. You'll notice that there is a hostage waiting to be rescued in this room. To help out innocent folks or gain valuable information from them, apply use on them as you encounter them.
Apply use on them.
Good. This will also work on locks, keypads, switches, and the like. Use the switch on the door in front of you and let's go over our HUD.
Okay.
Alright, let's refresh you on your tactical heads-up display. On the bottom of your HUD are your health and armor meters.
Okay.
The gray metal bar across the top displays the amount of armor you're currently wearing. Watch this one closely. It's the only thing protecting your hide from a bad case of lead poisoning.
That's funny. We just really like to have fun around
The
here.
bar below your armor meter shows your current health. When that runs out, you'll be pushing up daisies, so keep an eye on it.
Okay.
FYI, your armor will generally run out before your health starts to drop. That is, unless they shoot you with armor-piercing rounds or you fall for a long distance. Just
Good to
below
know.
Your health and armor meter is
Oh.
something new from the shop. It's your personal audio detection device, or PAD. Essentially, this is just a fancy name for a device that reflects how loud you're being. If you're making a lot of noise, the PAD will show it. The more noise you make, the easier it is for your enemies to find you. If you're in the green, you should be okay. Watch out when you start to get in the yellow. And cross your fingers when you hit the red. This little baby is a definite lifesaver if you're trying to sneak around.
Good to know.
If you're looking to avoid detection, use your quieter weapons. On the lower left-hand side of your HUD is
I
your
like that they
inventory.
just have
This shows
pictures of the
items you
HUD
have in
in
your
world.
possession.
This is insane.
You can cycle through all of the items that you're carrying by using next item.
Next item.
Press use item to activate the currently selected item. A word of warning, John. Be very sure of what item you're using, as some of them can be potentially dangerous to you. Remember the C4 incident with Hughes.
Yeah.
Now, the lower right-hand image is your weapon inventory.
Okay.
Use next weapon to cycle through your weapon inventory.
I have to hold down left trigger and then use the D-pad to...
Alright, let's head to the confidence course to learn some basic field maneuvers.
Okay, I didn't really learn what next... I don't really remember what next weapon is, but we'll just hope for the best.
John, this one's important. To survey around corners and recon the area, press and hold use and strafe left or strafe right. Not only could this give you the element of surprise, it also gives you vital cover and could save your ass.
My ass.
If you have to get through some low areas and need to crouch, press and hold crouch. You can also crouch to take advantage of low cover. Go ahead and work your way forward using crouch.
Using crouch. This is a terrible claw grip sort of thing I have to do on this controller to...
Now let's test your legs. Press jump to jump onto low cover. Good. Glad to see you're still in prime shape. I should start working out again one of these days.
I was just going to say, you should start working out again one of these
We
days.
make our way to the weapon testing area. Start off with some sniping. This exercise, you'll see various targets pop up, and you'll have a short time to zero in and neutralize them. To get started, press alternate fire to bring the sniper rifle scope into view. If you find yourself running low on ammo in your clip, you're going to have to reload.
Okay. I'm not going to tell you how to do that, but...
Okay, let's have at those targets.
Okay, the left trigger is not...
Just a reminder, some weapons have higher armor penetration. Make sure you choose the right weapons for the job. For example, against an armored opponent, a shotgun will do squat, while a .44 caliber pistol will do wonders.
Okay. Oh. Is that the last one? Is there... Oh.
Good work. Now let's look into using your environment to help you. You notice that pile of barrels in the corner? Stay a respectable distance away and shoot the red one.
Wait, is that the... Wait. I don't really have... So, it's like the...
Nice fireworks display, eh? Great shooting, Tex. You're ready for the final phase, the downtown gallery.
I'm like hitting the jump button while I'm zoomed in and just makes the jump noise. Out moving the scope. Oh no, wait, that's jump. So wait, what's this? What is it? Okay, how do I get out of this view? Okay. How do I reload? No. Nope. Nope. Ah, of course. I need to hold the left trigger and push left on the D-pad.
Okay, John. Simply walk from the spot marked at the beginning of the street to the end of the street. Shoot any thug that pops up. If you don't see a weapon in their hand, don't shoot, no matter how ugly they are.
Whatever.
Good luck. Watch where you're shooting. If you keep gunning down the good guys, you'll find yourself in a worse. Watch where you're shooting.
Yeah, I am watching where I'm shooting. Oh, hello, sir. I like these street sounds, cop noise.
You passed with flying colors, just like I knew you would. Exit the course, and I'll see you when Judy calls. Peace, man.
Peace, man. That guy said, peace, man. You just blasted a bunch of innocent people on that course, and you passed with flying colors, though. Peace, man. Peace, man. Give me a fucking break. You know what? I'm going to drop it down to easy just because it's so, like, the controls are so fucking weird. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, pretty much the quintessential Dreamcast game. I think we all think about Soldier of Fortune when we think about the Dreamcast. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. As Clammy Casino is. And El Waldorf and 3 Oct. Famed Douglas out here from his island. And another dying.
This isn't a military operation. I can't let you boys go down there.
Yes, that is how guns are fired.
Doesn't sound like you have a choice, Captain.
All right, you win. We don't know what these scumbags are up to down there, but we do know their leader's name.
Saber! Saber, the plan's failed! Take hostages. Whatever it takes, I want those explosives detonated.
Oh, look at this fucking guy.
Kill Saber, you've killed the gang.
Understood.
John, take this entrance.
Also, this John looks a lot like...
Good luck, Hawk.
I mean, he's not British, but he's got a real Captain Price, a Captain John Price-esque look to him. That is kind of weird. I mean, this is... I mean, and also Raven made this, and now Raven is on... Well, I don't think Raven invented the Captain Price character, but they certainly...
Cops!
What a weird... That's a very booming... I guess I'm underground, so maybe there's... Oh, look at that guy knocking over that soda machine. That's some dynamic video gaming right there. What? Oh.
Don't shoot!
Very awkward to control this way if the the face. I mean, I could probably remap this controller in a really crazy way to make it make sense, but
Over here.
all right, we smoked everybody in the bathroom. Now, what about the ladies' room? Go, man. Really good, high quality audio. So does this first one, is it only Soldier of Fortune 2 that has the dismemberment stuff? And also maybe the Dreamcast version doesn't do it? Because that was kind of the big thing. Okay, yeah, there's a little bit of it. Okay, there it is. Yeah, just out here, just emptying shotguns into Nazis. It's Friday. Oops. The shotgun sounds so ridiculous. Like, all right, let's see if we can figure out how to change weapon here. Okay, I know how to change between plastic explosives and the flash pack, but I don't... Oh, well. That's how you use them. Let's see. Maybe I don't have another weapon. But I would feel like I must have a pistol, right? Oh, wait, did I? There we go. It's just right on the D-pad. I have a knife, I have a pistol, and I have a shotgun. Okay. Damn, locked. Damn, locked. Oh, this is this. Okay, wait. Wait a minute. That's the bathroom, and then we went up this way, and we went this way after shooting everybody who was pooping. And then we went down here. And then we ended up here, and then that was locked, so we had to go, unless I can jump through here. Like, crouch jump? Would that be like a level 1, like... Yeah, I'm just gonna have a crouch jump through this thing. Jesus. Look at this chair moves. Look at this video game. Look how dynamic this is. This is great. Okay. Apparently we didn't need anything at the emergency medical station. Oh, okay. We can unlock that door. Where'd this guy come from?
John, you read? Go ahead. NYPD has a large group surrounded near Station 6C. Heads up. Roger.
And now we're back around this way, right? This is... Okay, there's the bathroom. So yeah, we'll walk around here. We'll come back into that room with the ticket office, and then we'll be able to go through that door this time. We could have just jumped through the window again, I guess, but... I don't know if this is the case here, but remember when shooters would get ported from PC to console and suddenly the levels were half as long? They were like, oh, we had to stuff a loading screen in here to load the second half of the level and had to insert a bunch of additional doors. Which I don't know if that's the case here, but yeah, that seemed like a load that would not have happened in the PC version of the game. Snap, snap, snap. Good snap. I like the total lack of hit reaction. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm getting hits in on these guys. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. All right, time to go back to the shotgun. This pistol is not fun. Also, shotgun, not that fun, but hey. I'm glad I'm playing it easy because I would hate to have to, like, try to be good at these controls. These controls are so weird. Not that weird. I mean, you know, you have to make do with what you have on the Dreamcast, right? But it's the number of, like, hold down this button and push this type of toggles. Well, it looks like a crashed train down that way, so I guess let's go this way. It makes a noise when I push the button. But I guess that's just the "there's no secret wall here, Wolfenstein player" noise. It's very dark. I don't know how well this plays on stream. Probably not very well at all. Do I have a copy of Half-Life 1 for the Dreamcast? I don't know that I do have one sitting here. Hi, what's going on?
Stop them!
Okay. Now let's load again. Oh boy.
Stop! Police!
I like that the screams seem to just come out of the far off left. Like, the stereo sound in this game is a disaster. Oh. Yeah, if I remember correctly, they really expanded on the dismemberment stuff in the second game. Made it a lot more dynamic. Are there videos? Is that a theme of YouTube video of like how fast can a guy load a shotgun? That seems like something that would exist. I'd like to thank the train for waiting for me. That guy's just hopping up and down. This guy's...
Damn. Oh, Saber got away.
No, he's right. Isn't that him right there?
This one's over, John. Just got word from the shop.
Something big has happened. Much bigger than this gang war.
It's like the plot of The Substitute. Nothing like getting paid for a nice hard day's work. 4 nether region shots, $381. Meanwhile, in Russia. Oh.
Cover me.
Just hanging out staring at this wall. I sure hope this wall doesn't explode while we're staring on it at it.
Sources in Russia report that an unknown organization stole 4 nukes from an underprotected stockpile near Kazan last night.
Uh-oh.
Sold to the highest bidder, a train now carries the warheads toward an undisclosed location in southern Africa. As much as I need Hawk on this one, the shop wants me to go in alone.
No. I can't leave without my buddy Hawk. I remember really enjoying this game and its sequel on PC. This Dreamcast version is... You know what? I bet if you look at the limitations of the Dreamcast and the Dreamcast controller, actually this is probably a pretty decent port of it if you really want to break it down. I mean, it does have mouse and keyboard support. We just don't have a mouse and keyboard. Well, an emulated keyboard. But yeah, I remember digging this game. And Payback, was that the second one? Payback? Can I strafe with the D-pad? I mean, I'm sure I could go in and configure that, but right now you strafe with the face buttons. And so look is on the left stick, the only stick on a Dreamcast controller. And then the face buttons are for movement. And then the left trigger is sort of a toggle. When you hold left trigger, you can... That's how you bring in your alt fire. That's how you change... You do a bunch of different weird stuff when you hold down the left trigger. Like to reload is to hold down left trigger and push left on the D-pad, which is, you know, insane. But the Dreamcast did not have a second analog stick, and, you know, so those face buttons had to be used that way. And oh, did I mess this up? Wait a minute, how bad did I mess this up? I sure wish Hawk was here to lift me up to get to the top of the train car, because I'm pretty sure now I have to jump off this train the hard way. Oh, can I get around? Okay. Where are those shots coming from? Oh, okay, now we can start to see them. But yeah, the audio, like the positioning of the stereo audio and stuff is really weird. So it's like... Oh, I can probably... Nope. Oh. There's a smaller box. Okay, left on the... Oh, no. Okay, well, yeah, we got the knife jump. Can I crouch jump up here? Is that... What am I doing? All right. Oh, that's bad. Okay, hang on. Okay. Hello, sir. Let me jump and do this in front of you. Check out my cool... Wow, that guy really whipped out that shotgun really skillfully. Oh, and then he shot me in the face. I'm having a bad time. That man said. That was his whole thought process there before he... Oh, okay. Op. Hola. Let's reload. But yeah, like that type of insane speed reload that this game has. There's got to be a whole subgenre of YouTube videos of dudes fucking reloading shotguns, right? At insane high speeds. Oh, okay. I will say on easy, this game is very forgiving. Like the length of time it takes for these guys to even fire their first shot is almost insulting, but I'll take it. Oh, yeah? Ah! I'm gonna be very interested to see what restart mission means in this context, because we may be done playing Soldier of Fortune. I'm gonna say we're done playing Soldier of Fortune. Does it even have a mid-mission save? Yo, what are we doing? That's wild. That's an interesting limitation that I suspect that the PC version probably did not have. You know, hey, you got to store a lot of in-mission... Hey, yeah, hop for me. That's a lot of data you got to store on a VMU. You know, a mid-mission... Who's alive? Who's dead? Did you pick up this ammo? No. Like, a lot of numbers, a lot of math. That guy reloaded that shotgun so fast. Oh, God, I'm dead. All right, anyway. That's Soldier of Fortune. Cool. That's, yeah, I don't know. I did not wake up today thinking, you know what I need to do is play some Soldier of Fortune for specifically the Dreamcast version. But, you know, hey, that seems like a decent port. I think lack of mid-mission save. Obviously nowadays with an emulator you can save state and do whatever you want, but like I'm trying to remember if maybe Soldier of Fortune didn't have... Or was it one of those games? Because some games, as you raise the difficulty, they would limit your ability to save mid-mission. Like they would eliminate quick save on higher difficulties or that sort of stuff. I'm trying to remember if Soldier of Fortune did something like that. It seems like a game that might have done that, but I do not remember off the top of my head if it did or not. So yeah. Thanks to Espresso Junkie. And Jean-Paul Blart. Neil Strife and Sean Noonan. Hi, everybody. Just hanging out on a Friday. I don't know. I'm going to hang out for another hour or so, probably. And then get into some weekend stuff. My new headphones are supposed to show up today. I'm pretty excited. I hope they are comfortable to wear. These just press on my jaw a little too much over time, and I'm not loving it. Weekend stuff like the Disney Video Games Expo. No, I think I'm okay. Did the OBS plugin for the Stream Deck work out? So they updated the official plugin, and I ended up going with that. The unofficial one that was kicking around pre-release triggered all my antivirus stuff, and I'm sure it was a false positive, but it was enough of just like, all right, I'm gonna wait off a little bit. God, yeah, the Dreamcast, huh? There's a lot of there are a lot of I'm sorry, there are a lot of bad Dreamcast games. I don't mind telling you. Let's see if this loads. Whoa, okay. This thing is just crashing over and over again here, so maybe we're done with Dreamcast games for a little bit, but maybe it'll load this one because it really truly hates us. Yep. Mach-N X, yeah. I remember Mach-N X looking cool, but maybe not being cool. But I don't remember. It's been a long time. I don't think I've ever played this game. You say Rez was one of the best Dreamcast games? Like, I guess by default, because Rez is such an amazing game, but that was not the PS2 version had the trance vibrator. The PS2 version is the definitive original version of Rez from that year, from that initial run. You know, it ended up running smoother. Oh, so like the Dreamcast version ran at a higher resolution, but the PS2 version ran at a higher frame rate. Is that what it was? What am I even looking at? What is even happening? Six.
Please select the VMU to save the data in.
I want to go to the Sonic room. Oh, jeez.
All right.
Another. Not for sale. I don't care how many rings you have. Can't buy those. This is all Sonic's got in his room. It's like, yep, finally moved out. Got my own place. Brought my book and my fish tank and my chair and my table and my clock. And I'm just going to stretch out here and unwind. Welcome to PlayStation Home. It's back. Why am I doing this? Play the same number twice in a row to move double the number displayed. They're awake now. PSO loading screen, but annoying. Can I pause it for a second? We've got to let Twitch know that we're really playing Sonic Shuffle over here. For all the shuffle heads out there who want to see a pro level stream of this hot video game. Everything about, yeah, there's something very unsettling about the visual style and the oh man, the voices, the movement, like this, it's got this like nightmarish,
just look at my clothes.
Dreamlike state.
What is this place?
We're stuck inside of PSO version 2.
Are we dreaming?
Then we're all part of the same dream? No way! That's impossible!
Sonic Ever the Solipsist is like, none of you are real anyway. You never are.
Welcome to Imaginary World.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Imaginary world.
Who are you?
I am Lumina. Lumina Frolight. It's nice to meet you. You're all here because you received my message.
What is this place?
It's Imaginary World. I already told you. Welcome to hell, motherfuckers!
Imaginary World. A world created from the dreams of those from other dimensions. This is the Temple of Light. This is where the Precious Stone was. It's the crystal that created this world.
Precious Stone?
No, Precious Stone.
Was? Then where is it now?
It's no longer here. It was shattered to pieces.
You've got to play a bunch of dog shit minigames to collect the pieces of the Precious Stone.
Lumina, if you don't mind, can you tell us what's troubling you?
Hey, we're also going to say what's wrong. Hey, what's going on?
Precious Stone, a crystal created from everyone's dreams. The power of the precious stone makes dreams come true and is the essence of imaginary world's existence.
I'm glad to be getting a real dump of the nature of this world because...
Illumina, the goddess of dreams, and I are the protectors of the precious stone.
Well, you're fucking bad at your job, I guess, huh?
We guard the precious stone so that everyone's dreams are protected. But one day, darkness draped the precious stone, and void. The precious stone was stolen by the darkness of void.
Okay, the darkness of void, got it. I'm taking notes.
And the precious stone was shattered.
Shattered by void. Oh, no.
When the precious stone shattered, Illumina lost her powers and became a prisoner in a faraway world.
Bootleg strawberry fields? What the fuck's going on?
Void's power of darkness is transforming different parts of imaginary world. If this keeps up, imaginary world will cease to exist. Please help me. I need your help.
You should have started with that.
Gather the pieces of the precious stone.
Hey guys!
We can do it!
Yeah!
Yeah!
Let's do it!
Let's make it happen. Knuckles is I guess.
Hey, leave it to us. We'll help this damsel in distress.
I want to kiss you with my creepy mouth. Rah, 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 rah.
Hi, I'm Tails.
Rah, 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 rah.
I'm Amy. Nice to meet you.
And I'm Knuckles.
And I love to rap.
Thanks, everyone. Okay, everyone. Let's go collect the
This is
pieces
really
of the
long
precious
too. Like,
stone.
you know, just I imagine. Yeah. I was gonna say imagine being the people that made this, but it was a long time ago. It was different standards.
Wow, what a beautiful beach.
A tropical island paradise created from the dreams of those who enjoy the sun.
What about the dreams of people who hate the sun?
But now,
What's that?
It's frozen.
Is that Void's doing?
No, it's from people who have ice dreams. Some people dream about ice. What's wrong with that?
changing this paradise into a cold world of ice.
Paradise, ice.
If we don't do something, this paradise is going to be sealed in ice forever. If we can get the precious stone back, this world should return to the way it was. Come on, everyone. Let's go get the precious stone.
Enjoy your gaming.
Okay, here we go.
I think it would be cool to be on a cool beachy island and then be able to see ice off the... Oh, man. That's weird. They're like, hey, by the way, here's some Sonic-looking graphics. In case you forgot that this was a Sonic game, you're like, oh, no. Imagine getting this and not reading the instructions, just popping it in and going like, all right, Sonic, here we go. Sitting through that entire intro. And then you get... And this is how... And then this pops up, and you're like, no. Oh, no, Void. Wait, so you shattered it again? It was already shattered, so what does this mean? Huh. Didn't realize we were gonna get some fucking ultimate breaks and beats.
The first precious stone is over here.
Is this straw broken? Well, mini event. So you want to be a billionaire? Yes. If we know one thing about Sonic the Hedgehog is that he wants to be a billionaire. Question: what are you doing? Why are you playing this? 0 times. Am I a billionaire now?
Yes!
I like how interminably slow every single menu, every single like fade up from black, fade down, like every single aspect just feels so terrible. Oh, I can't go that way because it's a Tails space. I guess I can... Oh, I can't go here because it's not... Well, I guess I lose rings no matter which way I go. Who cares? It was the early 2000s, a time when you could just get your fucking breakbeats for the same ones that everyone else was using to death and just put them in your games, and no one was going to stop you.
Is that all you've got?
I kind of thought maybe I would just play this until we saw a single mini game, but this is still happening, and okay, there's a crystal on a boat.
The next precious stone is over here.
Great. Oh no. Suck it. Just moseys in, just everything is so slow. It's amazing. Uh-oh. What the hell is this game?
Sonic.
Rockman, and I don't mean Rockman, but the crushed tails for 4 rings. S. I guess I want to come up out of the water. And where's the boat? Where am I? I don't care. The actual answer is I don't care. Is this something of note? Is this going to be... Okay, here we go. We've done it. Who's this guy? S. I'm going to give him an S.
Ready? Go!
It's just a nice surfboard guy.
Yes!
I got a battle ruby. Oh, sick. A battle ruby. I feel like this is a game I would like to watch a video of that contained every single one of those events with the weird rock man and every single, like, check me out, I'm a icy surfboard guy. And I would just like to look at all of that stuff once. Because this is such a weird disaster of a thing, but the game itself is like so interminably slow and fucking terrible. That you would never want to play it. I guess I'll use my 2 because it's all I got. I'm just into these drums. That's it. This game is awful. Wait, a mini game. Wait, do we get to play a video game now? Is this... Okay. Battle it out in a tank, defeat the others, and be the last one alive to receive a bonus. Move and shoot. Slide left and right, but you can't use A while sliding. Eggman will drop power-up items, but be careful, he also drops bombs! There's like elements of visual design here that I'm like, this, there's something about this game at least like went for a look, and then it's, if you were running a Y2K aesthetic blog, you could use a lot of screenshots of this game and a lot of the artwork in this game. And some of the music even.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
Oh yeah! Bull crap. There's presentational stuff about this game from the music and certain little bits of it that are like kind of fun to look at, honestly. Like after all these years, like I said, if you were running one of those fucking Y2K aesthetic blogs, this would be, I feel like, right up your fucking alley. You'd be like, we've got to rip every asset out of this game. Hey, another game. It's a game of tag. If you're it, Eggman won't let you pick up any rings. Damn it, Eggman. It's Arrow, closest player. What? Move, change camera. When the gong on the tower is hit, rings will fall. Hit the spring head on and jump to hit the gong.
Start.
This is a mess. This is all right. Let's go get the Sonic Shuffle soundtrack. Yeah, the Sonic Shuffle OST is, underrated gem of the era. Oh, man. Annoy another player. Let's get a curse opal. Oh, I guess I don't get to use it on this turn, huh? Curse opal activates. Okay. Well, we cursed Tails. Scoop up the rings with the bucket and dump them in the trolley. If your team gets more rings, you can keep them. Get rings. Dump rings. Pass bucket when facing right. Get rings when facing left. Left to get bucket. Dump rings. This is. I feel like I'm you're passing a bucket of rings along. I get it. Like that seems like that is the relay thing, but there's something in the the way that is written that is not as clear as it probably could be.
3, 2, 1, go!
got?
Boo! Yeah, this music is all right. This music all right. Put Sonic back to work in the ring mines. Tails has been cursed. What is that? If it's just a fish out of water over there, just like... Wait, what? Did he say he was going to make him bigger? Oh. What a doofus. What happens if I drown? I intend to find out. This guy. What if I attack with... What if I match? What if I tie? Oh, it's a 1 or a 2. I fucked that up. I didn't realize it was a maximum of 2. All right, well, what happens if we lose?
No!
No! He says. And then shakes his head no, and then it fades out. No! I intend to drown. I want to know. What a weird, needless mechanic this is. Like, this little fight thing. Yep, Bill Gates' favorite game right here. Everyone knows it. Precious Stone. Precious Stone. Precious Stone. Oh, good God. That's right. That's right. Suck it, Tails. He resisted the effect? I spent 50 rings on that cursed stone. And then these screens that you just like, oh, by the way, here's a coffin. Hey, what's in the coffin? Ouch. It's a weird fucking game. I've got it out. Fucking, this is nonsense. Like it's got like a fever dream level of like lore and like just by the way. Evil Invention 15. Okay. Everybody's so tired. Ooh, I just want to drown. Hopefully I just lose forever. I know that's not how it's gonna go, but it sure would be nice. Yeah, die. It feels like it should play the music. It should play the music, I think. If they just had some, jungle drum and bass remix of the Sonic drowning music that they could have played there. All right, now that we've drowned and it has not done anything good, I think I might be done. Might be done with Sonic Shuffle here. I can't go any way but back in the water. That's real silly. Now we've got rings. Anyway, that's Sonic Shuffle. I don't know. The Dreamcast, right? When we think about why did the Dreamcast make it as long as it did, Sonic Shuffle makes you wonder if maybe the Dreamcast lasted a little too long. Uh-huh. I'm trying to think, what is another highly questionable Dreamcast game? Because, yeah, obviously, yes. I mean, everyone, again, I feel like everyone knows here are the canonical best Dreamcast games, all that sort of stuff. But there's so much stuff that you're just like, yeah. But also there was Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six with Eagle Watch missions. I always felt like a lot of the U.S. development on Dreamcast was, or Western development in general, I guess I should say, was just kind of weird. Again, it was a case of like, Sega was the best developer for the Dreamcast, generally speaking. I mean, you had Soul Calibur, of course, but yeah, what else here? Bang.io is a cool game. Let's see here. What is this? Incoming. Yeah, Incoming was a launch game, right? I mean, Incoming was originally a game that came with graphics cards. It was like a stationary shooter. Blitz Games, makers of Sneak King. And I remember getting Incoming with a graphics card and going, this looks really good. It's not a good game, but I'm glad to be able to see... Works. Jesus. This is Real-Time Associates. This is the Real-Time Associates logo build is coming to kill us. Or is this something else? No. Hardman. All right. And then, yes, Incoming came out of the Dreamcast. And I remember going, oh, this is like kind of a not as good looking version. Begin the game, view movies. What am I looking at and why is it so dark? And I don't mean to say that games like this are like the games you look at and go like, here's why the Dreamcast failed or whatever. Because like all these games were coming out on all platforms. It was just a weird time for games. Where if you look at it as like you're kind of 4 years in on PlayStation or so at that point, right? By 99. And so you're hearing more and more scuttlebutt about the next PlayStation. You're ready for the next PlayStation. And then you get a Dreamcast and you're like, okay, cool. Like, these are better looking versions of the PlayStation 1 games that I kind of already don't want to play, like Chicken Run, for example. But, you know, you were getting these ports that were like Tony Hawk and stuff like that. Where you're like, wow, this looks a lot better. This is a really nice looking version of the game. But it wasn't like some big game changing thing either. And so third parties were just showing up with the same stuff that they were already bringing to PlayStation, and in some cases like fucking N64 and stuff too.
And I wondered if we could
and it just ended up being a really strange time for a new console to release.
I'll be able to make some crude.
Great idea, Mac.
Because as the PlayStation went more and more kind of mainstream, you know, you had more and more developers. I feel like, you know, you ended up in that era of like, now we're getting a lot of movie licensed games and just a lot of fucking butt-ass video games. And so the third-party games that already existed that they were willing to port over to Dreamcast, you know, not all of them were bangers. Oh God, I can't do that. You know, you had to count on Sega to put out games on the Dreamcast because, you know, they knew the hardware best. They knew what was going to make for a classic video game. Yeah, Capcom was a great partner for the Dreamcast, definitely. Like, in terms of third parties bringing the heat. Like, they definitely put out a lot of their great fighting games. So, like, the best versions would appear on Dreamcast and stuff like that, for sure. And this is the game that catapulted the Dreamcast into,
This is a game of chance.
What? No, it's not. It's not? No.
Then what is it?
Well,
a dumpster.
they're gonna have to play and find out.
Can we play too?
We always do.
They were so... They threatened the media, they threatened the public by saying Floigan Brothers Episode 1. And they very much intended this to be an ongoing franchise for them, and they thought they I don't know if they couldn't have actually thought. Like, I think they really looked themselves in the mirror when they woke up in the morning. At no point where they're like, Floigan Brothers is going to turn it around for us. But they definitely tried to position it as, this is the biggest thing in video games. Floigan Brothers. Floigan will do for Sega what Mario did for Nintendo, as the quote goes.
Let's see. What's a 6-letter word that means genius?
Michael.
Oh, yeah, good. Now, what's a 7-letter word that means circles of sugary baked dough with chocolate chips in them? Cookies. Let's make cookies. If we're gonna make cookies, we need sugar. Pass me the sugar bowl, big brother. It's on the table.
Just aesthetically, like, okay, like, forget that, you know, like, there are aspects of this that you go like, oh, okay, you're like,
We need sugar.
you've gone and made your, like, you know, Looney Tunes-esque of mice and men, like,
Sugar makes cookies good.
whatever you want to, you know, however you want to label it. Like, there's...
Come on, Michael.
Take this, brother. May it serve you well.
Thanks, Michael. You know what else these cookies need? Butter. It's in the
But now think about, like, you know, this is 2001, and think about the... Again, the aesthetics of the late 90s, early 2000s, and a lot of the attitude, the attitude era, and all that sort of stuff. And now look at this game compared to, like, what probably the expectations for the average video game player may have been. And then now look at this again and go like,
If these are gonna be chocolate chip cookies, we
like it just feels a handful of years too late for, well, when was Ren and Stimpy and stuff? Like when,
Could you get the chocolate for me, Heugel?
like could you have, it just, yeah.
How are you gonna get up there? We don't have a step ladder. Let me check the manual. To get the chocolate.
Yeah, Ren and Stimpy was 91. So yeah, so like,
Michael, that would be me. To stand
so
on the
this is,
pad, then Heugel should run around Michael. If Heugel runs fast enough, Michael will get dizzy and faint. Then Heugel can bounce on his belly like a trampoline to get to high places. Simple. People do it all the time.
Sounds crazy, but it just might work.
the infamous catchphrase of the Floigan Brothers? I don't know.
Please get the chocolate.
Did it say I needed to run around? Yeah, okay.
Here, take this.
Such dynamic control. You know, the buttons mean different things depending on what you're doing at a given time. That's huge. But yeah, this was definitely a game that they were behind and trying to position to us in the media as like a big deal. And it never seemed that at no point when anyone saw a version of this game before it came out did I think anyone was like, I think Floigan Brothers has a chance. Like it
Thanks, Heugel. I needed that. Cookies are good. Cookies are good. Cookies are really, 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 really. I won't put up the chip. I need to put up the chip. I love them. Cookie. Hooray! It's cookie time.
It's cookie time. It's cookie time.
Give me the mint, Heugel. The cookies are burning.
I don't. Did it show that where the mitt was when I wasn't paying attention? Is there?
Hand me the mint, and we'll get some cookies. Find the oven mitt, Heugel. Hurry! The oven's too hot, Heugel. Give me the oven mitt, will ya? Give me the mitt, Heugel. The cookies are burning.
Is it up here? It didn't look like it. Oh. That's the oven mitt.
Hand me the mint, and we'll get some cookies.
Take this, brother. May it serve you well.
Ah! Woo!
A little too much gunpowder in
I don't know if you like comedy. If you like the funny stuff, I mean like funny haha, not funny, you know, if you like hilarity. Uh-oh.
And when I get mad, I gotta pound you. But if you can run over and stand on that pad before I catch you, maybe something cool will happen.
You think?
You'd have to punch me to make me angrier. You better run.
Oh, okay. I guess that was the cool thing. I was like, wait, why?
Hey, Moigle, take this.
I don't care about your needs.
Now, I need to learn something new. Heugel, that's a great idea.
Oh, okay. Use the analog stick to choose up, down, left, or right, and press 5 for one hand or 10 for two.
Give me some.
Oh, okay, okay.
Low down. Shut up. Give me some.
Take some.
Got a hand?
Hand has landed.
Skin me, brother.
Piece of cake.
Skin me, brother.
Piece of cake.
Hi.
10.
Give me some.
Gotcha.
Got a hand?
Hand has landed.
Give me some.
Take some.
Yeah, they had to, they had people go out to the studio and stuff before this game was out, and like, you gotta come out and see.
Give me some points, and I'll show you something.
This seems.
Give me more.
Oh, fuck you. Oh, all right. Oh, wait, what? Oh, okay. It's a switch. Okay, all right.
Quit playing around.
It's time for my prostate massage. Boigle.
Look at me go!
Looks like he's fucking that train. Run and dive to catch the handle at the back of the train. I'm just having endless fun with this. It's like all the thrills of a mini game collection. Yeah, before it's too late. I feel like I am okay. This is all fine. I mean, if you think about it, like, it's a great first attempt, and I'm sure this is all the sort of stuff that, like, when they make episode 2, they will have learned a lot from this first game, and like the camera, everything about this is oops. Do I need to have a direct line on? Because I'm kind of, well, there.
What happens now? I don't know. Well, you don't have a plan?
We're the Floigan Brothers. We don't need no stinking plan.
I don't know that I ever played this game once it came out. I remember playing it pre-release. So this may be the first time I have touched this game since, 2001, or, but they were so adamant about showing it pre-release and trying to make such a big deal about it that I think everyone on staff probably ended up having to encounter it one way or the other before it came out, but I don't remember. I remember by the time it was coming out, being already just like, this is fucking abysmal.
I know something you don't know. I know something you don't know.
Well, Natch, you're a genius. You know a lot of things I don't know.
Ask me. What is it?
Okay, I'll bite. What is it?
I'm not gonna tell you.
Oh, you got me again.
It's a surprise.
Go on, you big galoot. You're toying with my feelings. What's the surprise?
Oh, no. You're not gonna trick me into telling you.
Oh, he's sharp, I'm telling you. You gotta get up pretty early in the morning to pull the wool over your eyes.
It's in the garage.
But you can't go in.
Well, all right.
I'm building in there. Do you want to help me?
I don't know. Do I want to help you?
Sure you do.
Sure I do. Again, why do I ask?
Don't turn to me and talk to me like I'm with you, man. No. You are both.
My little mouse friends will help us find them.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Mouse friends? You talk to mice now?
Go now, big brother, go. There's no surprise without you, so just follow the mice.
That's my little brother. He talks to rodents.
You know, and I wonder if just the way that this game, like, if you think about it, the way this all operates with its different buttons and you know, like, they're like, oh, your brother's like a different, you know, you have to figure out how to interact with him, and the buttons do different things each, you know, like very context sensitive button work and all that sort of stuff. Like, I get why probably some of the people working on this may have been like, hey, you know, we're kind of onto something here, but like there's nothing. I don't know. It was
There must be some way to get to the mailbox.
But yeah, this is.
I love you, big brother.
Oh, cool.
Hey, sailor, give me a hug.
No, I'm busy.
Wow. Okay. Well, just gonna leave me hanging. And I guess I'm gonna leave all you hanging because I'm not gonna play any more Floigan Brothers today.
That's it.
If ever. I made it multiple decades without playing the full final version of Floigan Brothers. And then I went and fucked up. But hey.
Oh, never mind. I'm done.
Yeah, that's a good point. At least I haven't played 24 hours of Kingdom Hearts prior to this. You'd have to be a real... you'd have to really hate yourself to do something like that. I mean, even just playing... I think any amount of Kingdom Hearts. I mean, think about it. Like, I guess, you know, I guess it's at least it's a step up, right? I mean, faced with the opportunity of playing Floigan Brothers or Kingdom Hearts, I'm going to say I would probably take Floigan Brothers 10 times out of 10 on that. You would have to be pretty broken inside to do that kind of thing, I think.
Hey, Moigel, want an apple?
Get wet? Me? Forget about it.
He does not like to get wet. How do I get... it doesn't matter. I was going to say, how do I get out of the trench? But I don't care. Because I have to go. Why am I doing this? Why am I saving? What's wrong with me?
Want to chase magpies?
The stream's too wide and I can't jump.
The stream is too wide. And we can't jump. That's going to do it for today. Oh, I guess they announced a new Tron game, huh? Visual novel. Adventure. Visual novel, you say? Okay, well, all right. I'm going to get going. On account of I have to go to the bathroom really bad, and also I got to go hang out with the family, all that other stuff. Eat some lunch, maybe. I haven't eaten much today. Be back on Tuesday with the podcast, all that sort of shit. What else? Head on over to Patreon, patreon.com/Jeff Gerstmann, where you can watch me go to the bathroom. No, I don't think that's on offer over there. I'd have to go check. Go over to dopeassvideogames.com and see what you get. Ad-free podcast, other shows, all that sort of stuff. No one is going to no one is going to bully me into playing more Floigan Brothers. If I play more Floigan Brothers, it is of my own volition. It is not. No one is going to. No one. Disgusting. All right, I'm going to take off. I want everyone to have a fantastic weekend. Be back on Tuesday with the podcast, and we'll do some more streaming next week. There's, I think there's some other, like, because we're coming up on TGS, so I think there's probably going to be some additional streaming stuff. I know, like, Ubisoft is doing their thing this weekend, but we'll talk about that on the podcast, because it sounds like that's just going to be like 9 different Assassin's Creed games and all that sort of stuff. And so we can talk about that some other time. I don't think we need to talk about that live. And then, yeah, as Disney, I think Disney might be doing something this weekend as well, right? Because is it D23? D20 is it D20? It's the 23rd anniversary of the Dreamcast, D23. So, Disney's on now. Are they announcing a new Dreamcast because D23, the 23rd anniversary of the Dreamcast? No? Well, they should do that. Disney should buy the Dreamcast from Sega, the Dreamcast name, and put it out and do just Dreamcast drop distance. And then they could do that. That is my thoughts on the matter. And that's all I have to say at this point. So everyone have a great weekend. We'll be back Tuesday, and then I believe Wednesday and Friday we'll be back on kind of a more normal schedule after shuffling some things around this week. I probably will have finished or bought all the arcade machines in Arcade Paradise by the time we talk next. I'm getting pretty close to that. So that's pretty exciting. I'm also been playing a little bit of Shatterline, which is a free-to-play kind of Call of Duty-esque first-person shooter that I don't think is very good. but someone mentioned it on stream yesterday, and I checked it out a little bit last night. And I was like, maybe I'll play some of it today. And then instead we played Floigan Brothers. So instead we played way more Sonic Shuffle than a human should ever look at, because it's the Dreamcast's birthday, and I'm happy to have celebrated the release of the Dreamcast and its best games with all of you here. Of course, Soldier of Fortune, Floigan Brothers, Episode 1, Sonic Shuffle. All of these games are available in stores now. I hope you go out and check them out. Hey, if you like them, go out and check them out. Go out and check these games out. They're new. They're in stores now. Have a great weekend, everybody. Head over to dopeassvideogames.com. Hit up that Patreon if that's your thing. Subscribe to the podcast on podcast platforms if that's your thing. Or just sit back in a dark room in total silence and enjoy that if that's your thing. Oh, that'd be nice. I wish I could do that. Oh.